Get involved now. Be on the right side of history. Be on the side of good. Wear the white hat. This is your chance to be involved in human history.
You get in my face with that, I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. You piece of shit. You fucking goddamn fucker.
There's a fucking murder right down the hall.
We should not submit to dehumanization. I don't know about you, but I'm concerned with what's happening in this world. We're going to stand up and we're going to be human beings. We're going to get fired up about the real things, the things that matter. Creativity and the dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say. It's in your court.
Dr. Kary Mullis was awarded the Nobel Prize for his invention of the polymerase chain reaction, the PCR. The PCR is a method of analysis and wasn't designed to test for a virus. Mullis explains why.
And with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything in anybody. It starts making you believe in the sort of Buddhist notion that everything is contained in everything else, right? I mean, because if you can amplify one single molecule up to something that you can really measure, which PCR can do, then there's just very few molecules that you don't have at least one single one of them in your body, okay? So that could be thought of as a misuse of it, just to claim that it's meaningful.
The PCR test can potentially find anything you are looking for, depending on how high you turn it up. And this is exactly what has been done. The official protocol given for the PCR testing of COVID-19 created a floodgate of false positives to skew the results. They call it asymptomatic because it's a lie. These people don't have symptoms because they don't have COVID-19. They do it today because they've done it in the past and always gotten away with it. 30 years ago, Anthony Fauci, head of the NIH, made a name for himself by pushing for higher doses of the deadly drug AZT, an old cancer chemotherapy too dangerous for approval, onto AIDS patients. Kary Mullis was hired to measure HIV in people's blood samples with his PCR. He was working under the premise that HIV was the probable cause of AIDS. But when he went looking for the proof, he found there was none. They just made it up.
What is that paper? Who do I go to for that? And I looked around, I asked a couple of virologists at that company, and they said, no, you don't have to reference. I said, I have to reference that because I don't know where that came from. How do I know that? And it turned out that nobody knew it. And I was getting really freaked about that. That's when I first started saying, they don't know. Nobody really knows. This whole thing is a big sham.
Mullis pointed out how the CDC was losing money and how the HIV/AIDS connection brought their profits back in the black, and how the men at the highest levels were all in on it. Kary Mullis knew these men were dangerous.
They don't want people like me walking up and asking them those kind of questions, and they're willing to go to great lengths to prevent that. They're out on a limb. I wouldn't want to be there with them.
But he was still outspoken. When ABC's Nightline approached him about doing a documentary on his work, Mullis convinced them to cover the HIV debate after nearly a decade of ignoring it. In a 1994 interview with Celia Farber for Spin magazine, Kary Mullis expressed how he really wanted to expose Anthony Fauci and Robert Gallo. He said that he'd be willing to chase the little bastard from his car to his office, a Nobel Prize winner trying to ask a simple question from those who spent $22 billion and killed 100,000 people. It has to be on TV. I'm not unwilling to do something like that. Unfortunately, not many people were listening back then. And on August 7th, 2019, just about 3 months before the first utterance of COVID-19, Kary Mullis, age 74, a Nobel Prize winner, inventor of the PCR test, a man who was once willing and eager to expose Anthony Fauci, quietly died of pneumonia. the timing of it all is mysterious to many of us.
Welcome back to CIIA-Media, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chris from Austin with Wesley Boyd from Oregon, breaking down the latest in the New World Order. You guys saw the title. The CIIA-Media is conditioning you for the alien reveal. And we're going to be flowing in and out of the topic, but there's a lot going on. But by the start, we'll just start off with this. In the words of Kerry Mullis, you know, the PCR test can find anything, and on the basis of that, Fauci is a psychopath, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about psychopath, but liar, cheat, probably like second-degree murder, at least manslaughter kind of stuff. But
stuff he's been involved with since the 80s. I mean, y'all saw the video,
right?
In the 80s, he was trying to push AIDS, and he was the one that was researching AIDS also.
Yeah, Fauci hasn't spent time in a lab in forever. Like, that was his first job. Kerry Mullis said, Kerry Mullis, is that his name? Yeah, he said Fauci doesn't know anything about anything. Yeah, he said, nothing about microbiology, nothing. He doesn't know how to read a mass spectrometer. I know a woman who knows how to read a mass spectrometer. It's a really hard thing to do. Yeah, she's a chemist here at the college. But so he gets to play with that, $500,000 toy.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, so it's like but everybody just assumes, Fauci, he's the one in charge, so it must be good. He must know what he's talking about. I'm like, yeah, and people are so dumb.
Pretty much, they admit they can find whatever they're looking for, because
right.
The way it is, it's kind of like a net. It's kind of like a.
No, I can explain. I can explain it. I studied this for Ebola. Oddly enough, like a few months before this whole thing kicked off, I was looking at Ebola. How do they find Ebola? And they use a PCR test. Okay. Weird. So who knows if Ebola is even real?
Wait, so Wesley Boyd was researching illegal, highly lethal Ebola viruses in his spare time?
Nope. YouTube. Ebola. How do you find Ebola? How do you study Ebola? They grab a sample of a person's DNA and put it in a PCR test. But what happens is they take a piece of DNA and they use a okay, this touches on a lot of stuff. They use they heat it up slightly and then a little bit lower, like more than you can really control, like not like staying your stove like high, low. I'm talking 98 degrees to 85 degrees, up and down, exactly, right? So this requires a complicated machine, the PCR test. And what it does, that vibration, which is the same vibration that your cell phone does to your brain, weirdly enough, so this vibration splits the DNA apart. That's why 5G splits your DNA apart. And then it inserts a trigger of whatever they're looking for, whatever they want, and it replicates it, making it copy itself, clone itself, for reasons of research and such. Now, their excuse is, if we can make it copy itself enough within each cycle, that means you have a viral load. But if you go beyond 20, there's Kerry Mull says you can't even use it. There's no way you really use it. It's a tool for studying things. It's not a tool for finding things out. You make a clone, essentially, a very primitive clone, and be like, hey, see, it's there. It's just like, okay, yeah, because you made it, you jackass. You made it be there.
You can mess with the settings and get it to where if you had a coronavirus or like the regular flu 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it can pick up old strains.
You always have coronavirus and you always have a SARS, some sort. You've had the flu, you've had a cold, you've had a pneumonia. You have it. Period.
It's positive even though they have no symptoms, and then they want to go collect their 2 weeks of pay and get the government help, so they go stay at home. People don't want to work anymore. The economy is crashing.
Their kids get taught they have to come home if they have the sniffles.
Yeah, and to add on top of all this confusion and stress,
people are going nuts. People are killing each other, getting into fights over stupid shit.
Now the media is trying to push the whole alien topic, and we don't have to go into who the aliens are, what they're doing, but just in the fact that it's becoming a big topic now, and that everybody's mainstream media is like pushing it, so it's getting to the point where everybody has to, this used to be confined to like the deep corners of the bookstore, and now it's becoming big. Now the Navy is releasing videos, and when government starts, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, everybody. How many people does everybody know who are just like, oh, if the aliens are here, that must mean they're super smart and they must have a peaceful society and all. It's like, why does that have to mean that for one? But like, they're gonna make it to be like, these are your benevolent rulers, and they're going to tell you how to live your life forever. You must eat bugs, and you must kill most of you. You must kill 90% of the world.
Yeah, because the globalists are obsessed with like the occult and extraterrestrials, and behind the scenes, they really look into this and the New Age and all of this occult mysticism stuff. And it's been like that way for years. Like John Dee, the advisor of Queen Elizabeth, he famously drew a picture of the angel that he was supposed to getting info from. Angel had like a big gray head.
It was an alien.
Gray.
It was one of the grays.
Yeah,
like they say. And then you go to Africa, and there's the same kind of depictions. You go to Samaria, same kind of depictions. Mayans, same kind of depictions. Remember the Pope a few months ago? He did a exhibit with was it Mesopotamian or
the Pope,
and they were it was an astronaut. The statues, there was an astronaut looking thing, there was an alien looking one, there was a flying saucer, and these were artifacts from thousands of years ago. Tell me what the hell's going on.
In that one pyramid?
It was all, I don't know, I can't remember. It was some like ancient part of the world, Samaria, Mesopotamia, that like part of the world that we don't even know about really anymore.
Dude, yeah, and man, it's crazy because that thing the Pope did that you're talking about, he did it with like 17 other religions, and it was supposed to be this conference for like world peace and coming together. And I want you guys to understand.
Was it part of the whole? Was it part of that festival? I thought it was just a display at the Vatican.
Oh,
this was long.
Ziggurat. Maybe we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, no. This is just an exhibit months and months ago. You're talking about a meeting he had later, which that's the cool thing. He's breaking through, It's like we're trying to make like a comedy like Futurama with the space pope. Every religion combined into one, and it's a giant lizard who's the space pope. Weird. Matt Groening's a fucking weirdo, and he's an insider. But anyway, sorry.
Fauci and Kerry meet Pope to discuss the Great Reset. Yeah, the Vatican is so into UFO research right now, and they even have that. We talked about this way before, but they have that one. What's it called? It's a telescope in Graham, Arizona, and they actually fought.
They have one in South America too, and in India, near India or something like that. Yeah, they have it like in like some of the highest places in the world. The Vatican owns a telescope, and so does NASA. and all that.
And famously, Malachi Martin, he's the one that let it out that on Coast to Coast, 1987, Art Bell, famous interview, classic. Go check it out. He dropped some deep knowledge there. He said that the Vatican had bought that because they knew there was an object approaching the Earth, and they were watching it to see what it was and when it was going to get here. And like all the people at the top know these things. I mean, that's why they put it in the movies. The CIA,
All the banker,
they're getting
all
you
the
ready for when everything will change.
right. All the bankers are hire astrologists, or is it astrologists or astronomers? Are the ones not like zodiac signs, but like election. Maybe it is people's zodiac signs, but I know like the bankers and everything look at the stars and how they align and all that. You know, It's just like the world is way different than we're told. Everyone wants to, people who are in their like 60s, 70s, they think, "Oh, I've got a handle on the world and I know how it works. I've been alive." Like, no, you don't. You've got a hold on what the illusion is, what you've been told, but it doesn't. Right. It's not true.
Yeah, people get caught up in the man-made worlds and the artificial. Have you ever thought about what life would be like if you were born 200 years ago or 500 years ago? You know what I mean? Like, what does it mean to be human when you don't have all these things? And
it's just like working all damn day, like working 10, 15 hours a day just to scrape by, because that's how the globalists have had it for a long time. That's why we talk about these things, these statues from 2,000-3,000 years ago. Like, these entities, demons, whatever you want to call them, have been here forever, and we just need to get a hold of them. Because as soon as humanity wakes up to it and turns around on them, dude, they're done. That's the thing. They've been hidden this whole time, manipulating everybody, and nobody really knows.
Knows what?
No, they don't really know the manipulation. Like, what are the demons, the aliens, whatever you want to call them, the possessed ones? What are they doing in the background? Maybe there's good. I think there's good aliens. There's bad aliens. There's good spirits. There's bad spirits, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It's like it's all a mixture. There's never there good people, bad people, good things, bad things. You can't have one without the other.
And every civilization has stories and legends about this, and writings, and there's drawings, and they all match up, even though I'm not saying they're all the same, but there's common elements of these different entities exchanging information and knowledge. Every culture, from way back. I have
go ahead.
Book. Check out this book, and I'm not saying I agree with him 100%, but Graham Hancock. I know he gets a lot of hate, but this one book, Supernatural, is just like his collection of. This one goes into like psychedelics, but it also goes into like the influences of the other entities.
Right, and read things, and people need to read things like, things like that. You may not agree with everything. It's not like you have to agree with absolutely everything. What's the premise of it? Is it like, just talking about the ideas of these things existing, or what? First-hand accounts?
I guess I meant to get maybe I meant to get another one.
Anyway.
Oh, wait.
Right.
It's meetings with the ancient teachers of mankind. Supposedly he's talking about the entities that have been there.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess I was
the Arabics call them the jinn, genies. The South Americans, what they call them, they're flyers.
Let me just
and then there's just angels and demons, dude. It's like these things have been around and talked about. Everybody just wants to poo-poo them. Go ahead.
Yeah, especially like because you see them when you take the psychedelics and you go into that spiritual realm. So there's something crazy here. To return to the mystery with which this chapter opened, the figure that folklorists call midwife to the fairies is widespread in global mythology, particularly in the old world where she's found throughout most of Western and Eastern Europe and many different parts of Asia, all the way to Japan. Such universal themes attest to universal experiences involving reproductive contact of one kind or another with non human intelligence, such as UFO abductees report today. And this is about this ancient being. And pretty much you find common elements. And like people will call them different names, but uh, different parts of the world, you see similar things. Like in Mexico, when we were growing up, Mexicans like talking about supernatural stuff. First of all, um, and generally speaking, we do like scary movies. Just put that out there. But everybody has stories about like weird things that would happen. Family stories that have been passed down. Like everybody knows like Llorona, right? And uh, you heard about that?
Yana? What's
La
that?
Llorona, the wailing woman.
Oh yeah, I have heard about that. I've heard iterations of it. I've
Yeah, like
seen
sometimes it
fiction
goes on.
recreations of it. In Fallout 4, there was one the the whispering maiden, kind of the same idea. It
Uh-huh.
was crazy. Anyway, like
Yeah,
yeah, I've
and
heard of that kind of stuff. You
and
know?
so that there's a big, obviously, Native American indigenous beliefs that
Yeah.
still survived, include like the uh, black magic elements and white magic type of stuff. The
Oh
traditional
yeah.
shamanism type
Anybody
of
want
stuff.
to see some? Anybody want to see some crazy like Native American brutality, Satanism style shit? Watch what is it? But um, bone, bone something. Shit, I had it in my head. Bone.
Bone frost.
Uh. No, it was like it was
Bon
Bloodbone or
appetit.
something like that. It was sorry, it was Kurt Russell. It's a Kurt Russell film, and it was just like these freaking crazy Native Americans. They'd kill people and eat them half alive
Bone
and keep them alive
tomahawk.
and torture them. No, maybe if that's the name, maybe. But Kurt Russell film.
A
But
Western
anyway,
cannibal horror film.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
dude. Like these, like okay. My whole thing is like people are like, "Oh, poo poo," and it's like, okay, then why does every single culture have like almost the same story when you get down to basics? Why? Why is it always the same damn story when these things?
yeah,
You
and why
know?
do they end up looking similar? And why do people report similar experiences, even across different cultures? This is the movie Wesley was talking about.
Yeah, Bone Tom. Yeah, dude, that is a screwed up movie.
Is this based in real life?
I'm not sure, but yeah, dude. Like it's not all fun and games. Like this is like, why do you think they do? Do you think they do this for kicks? No, they give it a pow. They get a power from it. And these Native Americans became addicted to it.
To cannibalism?
Yeah, just cannibalism, brutality, black magic, all that stuff. It becomes
It
like
goes
a
into black magic?
yeah. It's like that's like they do rituals and shit, and they do
What?
like yeah. It's crazy if I
Okay.
remember right.
Well,
So
anyway,
it's,
like I was saying, that's a big
anyway,
part of like it's still in there in Mexican culture. Some people might like to say they don't believe in it, but it's there, and like people brush up against it. And
yeah.
you always I heard growing up that when the way you would know it was a witch, or the way witches looked when you saw them out, like when you were driving around in the countryside, was like a ball of fire, and pretty much if you look at them now, they look just like the red orbs, except so they used to call them witches, and now they just call them UFOs, but it's the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Very much so. No, these here's one.
We're the same phenomena where like people have missing time experiences and all this kind of stuff. And like
Yeah.
a lot of people say that they get encounters with witches in Mexico, and they say they have big black eyes.
Here,
Big black eyes,
not the type.
alien.
Ooh,
What book is that?
this picture, this is David Icke's picture, but this right here is a sketch done by a Zulu shaman, and this is something like it's been described. You can find all kinds of text from his and like notebooks from he has 100 years ago. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like that's their like they call them like evil overlords, like demons that come and like try to cause havoc. And you know that's why they say that's why a lot of people say that the globalists really have a thing out for black people, because the black people in Africa were the first ones to actually call them out and fight back. There's things like one story I read about a guy who like ran up to one and like cut his testicles off, and that's why the globalists hate black people. Because their culture was in Africa, they were like the first ones to try to kill them. That's why Africa's like in such a shitty situation. They want to keep it that way.
When did that happen?
Like tens of thousands of years ago. I don't even know, because we don't even get told the real timeline in this world. You know, so people just start reading stuff like, you know, the perception, the phantom self, and the perception deception, stuff like that. You know, don't look to.
Steve Quayle actually goes into
Steve Quayle.
He's interesting.
I don't have Steve Quayle
perspective, but he goes into how there was a pre-Adamite civilization. And check this out: pre-Adam. That means before Adam and Eve.
Keep talking.
There was a vast intergalactic universe, you know, with different species and beings, and this universe was inhabited, and the Bible talks about how there's a planet called Rahab. Or the Bible doesn't say this directly, but like there's allusions to it. And then when you look at the history of other civilizations, there was a planet called Rahab, which was used for the devil, and it was blown up. And there's this, I forgot what it's called, but there's this one physics law that says how they know the distance between planets. And that's how they were able to predict you know, like
I don't believe this whole like we just figured it out with math, the distance, because we looked at it. I'm like, I've never really believed that whole physics thing, the whole like thing about astrology like that.
Both sides,
astronomy,
formulaic prediction of spacing between planets in any given solar system, just extending outward, each planet should be approximately twice as far from the sun as the one before it. So there was this, and people knew that, and that's how they were able to, you know, figure out some of the last planets. I forgot which exactly, but y'all can look into it. Well, according to this law, it holds true for every part of the universe, every planet except for one. And according to this law, there should be a planet between Mars and Jupiter. You know what I mean? Between Mars and Jupiter, what's between Mars and Jupiter? The asteroid belt. For those of you who don't remember, let me pull it up.
Boom.
Just like every ancient culture, or maybe not everyone, but you know, it's a theme that comes up. In fact, George Lucas. See, here you go. Mars. Jupiter,
where's Saturn?
Look at all that. Look at all these rocks.
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Is Saturn further out beyond Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's another thing David Icke gets into heavy is Saturn. You can find pictures of them like literally creating the Saturn. Like something is actually blowing out things into the rings of Saturn. And this is NASA photos released. Like it looks like a ship blowing, like creating the rings of Saturn. And it's just like, who knows, dude? Like was there a planet there? Did something blow it up? Who knows? Did the proto-globalist take it out to try to distort our universe? And that's why we can't get the because there's more energy going into our sun than there is coming out. If anybody wants to know. So what happens when you destroy a planet full of alloys and metals and minerals and energy and lava? What happens when you destroy that and it's just strewn about like that? What the hell is going to happen? Don't know.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so just like in Star Wars, George Lucas, the Star Destroyer, where they got that thing that blows up an entire planet. And he got the inspiration from Star Wars from an ancient like Indian text that talked about, space fights and lasers and ships that
Right.
fly between the
Can't
stars
you
and stuff.
find his like TIE fighters like in ancient text, literally like drawn out? Isn't it weird? Something weird like that?
Yeah, and not only that, but the book he got it from, the ancient thing, I believe was also called Star Wars in the ancient language. Or maybe
Right.
it wasn't that one, but one of the books is called Star Wars, literally.
Wars, like probably a war up in the stars or something like that.
Yeah, and that's why in Star Wars when it starts off it says a long, long time ago in a universe far, far away. It says
In
a
a
long
galaxy
time
far
ago.
away.
Yeah.
In a
It says a long
galaxy
time
far,
ago,
far
not in
away.
the future. Even though it is futuristic, it says in the past.
Yeah, weird. What's that all about? Why did everybody speak English? Weird.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway.
But yeah,
Yeah,
the point is, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things brewing, and you can see that they're obviously getting us ready to for this big revealing. And I don't know how it's gonna happen, but
yeah, but don't worry. We're gonna have the latest pop star for you, latest movie. Don't worry, everybody.
I think
Who
it'll
cares?
be I think it'll be like childhood's end Arthur C. Clarke, and that's kind of what Alex was talking about today. How they won't reveal themselves right away. You'll hear the buzz about, oh, the aliens say this.
Yeah.
And this is what the aliens sold to the United Nations. And they'll make it seem as if like they've got some big secret plan for us, and all you got to do is change your ways a little bit, and it's just been part of the conditioning.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, at CERN, they're already opening that up. At CERN, they think they're opening up the dimensions. And
yeah.
Letting something in that'll give us more.
Probably letting something in. They're probably right. Pacific Rim. Like, are the aliens coming from the ocean? You remember a couple years ago they had that weird like satellite imagery, like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, like they see like it looks like a like worm digging through the mud, but it's like if they looked at it and measured it, it was like half a mile wide and like hundreds of feet tall, and it's just crawling through the mud. It's just like something's crawling through the mud and the dirt and the rocks. And like it's just coasting around the Pacific Ocean, going from Antarctica back like into the middle of the Pacific Ocean and back. It's like, who knows? Is that aliens? Was that just crazy government shit? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a big deep trench right out by Puerto Rico, and people see orbs going in and out all the time. And not only that, but that's also where the Bermuda Triangle is. And there's all
Right.
those. I
Magnet.
don't know if there's anything to that. Is there?
Yeah.
But it's in the area.
The Bermuda Triangle.
You
It's
know about
Stonehenge,
abduction?
right? Stonehenge, right? And Georgia Guidestones, all the ley lines. Well, there's
Oh,
positive and negative fields, right? Bermuda
yeah.
Triangle is a bad one. They
Maybe
no compasses literally don't work there.
maybe it's a gateway,
Who
and people
knows?
come in and out, and sometimes get kidnapped or abducted. Famously like alien abductions, just like the Bigfoot stuff. Look into the missing 411, man. That's
Yeah,
some deep stuff too. But yeah, here it is. I know it's like right by Florida.
yeah, it's pretty close out there. But no, people need to really wise up. Like it's not gonna be like a movie. I think everybody expects it to be like the movies, like a TV show they've seen.
Well, in a way, they are programming us with
Yeah,
movies, but it's not gonna be like
but
fun. It's not gonna be
right,
like,
no, it's
oh,
not gonna.
rescue people
You're not
today.
gonna see. Yeah, you're not gonna see aliens coming out of the sky on a giant saucer like Independence Day. Sorry.
I think eventually they will reveal themselves, uh, but first they're gonna play this con game of, oh, the aliens say, um, for example, you need to take this chip, uh, to renew your life, and we need
Yeah,
to all have the same consciousness if we
we
really want to change. And the ones that
we
go along, they're gonna be done away with, and those are gonna be the Christians. And everybody who questions, one world government, one world takeover.
right. We did
So
this on our planet, everybody suffered, and a lot of people died for a long time. But then we became this, and we traveled across the universe, spreading our communist ways. It's just like it worked out for us. Don't worry. Just give up everything. Eat bugs. Don't eat meat. Stop driving your car. Wear old bed sheets. And let George Soros fly around in his multi-million-dollar jet with his caviar and hookers and
yeah,
drugs. Don't do that. You don't get to do that, but he does because you know what? He's helping us so. He's helping so much.
yeah, and I also want to go into this real quick. I believe over time the alien civilizations have been around Earth for a long time. It's not like they're just discovering us. They're coming back, and there's prophecies from all different cultures where they say that gods will be come back and be reunited with man and walk among us one more time. That's what the Masons believe. That's what the Helena Blavatsky's. Those are like the big when it comes to the occult and the New Age and what the globalists believe. That's like their prophets. Helena Blavatsky was one of the main ones. And they talk
Right.
about how one day the gods are gonna come back and it's all gonna be fun and games, with human sacrifice. And it's how in the Bible it talks about how the fallen angels came down to earth and had a whole society here, and their kids were running things before until the flood came and wiped everything out. And you see, the flood covered things out, but in the future, things are gonna get crazy, and some of these civilizations will be uncovered. I don't know how exactly, but like the Sahara has stuff down there beneath the sands. Uh, Antarctica, pyramids there. That's why all the big world leaders go there. Like,
Pyramids. Those are pyramids in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
dang, what?
Those steps are like 20 feet tall each, but it's like a stair step. What the hell was walking up those stairs? I would like to know.
Yeah,
And they find giant statues. They find giant statues that look kind of like Jesus, and they're like 200 feet tall with their arms outstretched like 50 feet each.
where?
In the middle of the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean,
Is that
just
the Phantom Self? I gotta
underwater.
read that book.
This is the Phantom Self, David Icke. talks about a lot of stuff, how it connects and all that. And yeah, and New World Order stuff. Look, everybody needs to really watch his stuff. Even if you don't agree with everything, it works. You need to hear it. He talks about chemtrails.
David or Dr. David Jacobs, he does a lot of interviews with abductees and alien abductees and people that go through these experiences. And that sounds crazy, but everybody's details match up. And over years, people that don't know each other are telling the same stories. And as he tracked them, the stories will start going from the aliens are doing this to now they're making hybrids, and now the hybrids keep looking more human as the years go on. To eventually, oh, the hybrids are actually look totally like us, and I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, no, there's people. I'm sure everybody's seen a hybrid at one point or another. This doesn't mean the person's actively evil.
And not only that, but then now the hybrid is. Now I'm telling the hybrid how to interact with normal humans and how to blend into regular society. And he said that dude is scared, like, for his family in the future, because he says he sees where it's all going and that they're pretty much infiltrating. And who knows how long they've been doing this? But
yeah, that's what you gotta get to. You gotta realize, wait, nobody's getting out of this. I hear people, I tell them about this, and they're like, I believe you, but I'm scared, and I can't do nothing about it. It's like, you realize you have no choice. Quite literally, you have no choice. Like, you're gonna either do this, or you're gonna die. Like, your survival instinct needs to kick in.
Yeah, how does it go? If you don't choice, you still have made a choice. If you don't do anything, you've still taken no choice means
right. You're doing nothing is still a choice.
Yeah, in not doing anything means you're going along with it. Because remember, at some point in Germany, the churches had to decide whether they want to go along with it or they want to let Hitler run around, putting everybody into trains to who knows where. And
right.
I don't know how it'll play out, but I'm pretty sure eventually when the alien thing becomes bigger, there's going to be a big push to form some kind of new age leftist cult, because it's like how we were talking about the Pope. They have a plan for a one world government, one world religion, and many different occultists and other civilizations have stories about how eventually everyone will be a one world religion and there will be peace.
He's basically sent out a
Ah.
message that there should now be
the videos playing.
Okay, my bad. But let me show you this real quick. Last thing. Actually, this is not it.
Yeah.
I'll save it for next time. But it pretty much the Pope was in that ziggurat.
Right.
With
What?
a bunch of other religions, supposedly for peace and for unity. So they're getting us ready. This Pope is not Christian. Church has been taken over. Look at this. Where they used to have sacrifices and cannibalism. Now the Pope is there. Crazy.
Yeah, why would you want to be there until you cleansed it or something? Wouldn't that be the Christian thing to do? But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I try to warn people. Bring together several faiths and hopefully there are more visitors. So it's the push for the one world religion. The whole we're looking at God we're looking at the same light from different windows, and it's all a huge deception. This is how they're gonna take over. So decide what side.
Yeah. Okay. Just one more thing. Since you're talking about the Pope, do you trust a guy who sits in a room that looks like that?
What?
That right there?
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, the Vatican room, the Jesus being resurrected. It's this giant snake head surrounded by a bunch of like demon looking things. And it's all like crazy Satanist looking. Anyway, I want to find that. So yeah.
Yeah, get familiar with the subjects because it's gonna come up and eventually it'll become a big everyday topic. So don't be caught off guard. And the problem is they know people aren't informed and that's why they get to shape you with all these news, official news opinions.
I know.
You know,
Need a fact checker. Like, I've
yeah,
never needed a fact checker. Like, can I get a fact checker website? Can you get a fact check on that? It's just like, it's called doing your own freaking research and knowing what you're talking about in the first place, you dingwad.
yeah. So decide what side. Subscribe, Rumble, Gab, Locals Minds, Twitter, Periscope, and leave a comment. And don't forget Blessings 777. Shout out to all you who subscribe. Leave a comment and thumbs up because you know we're trying to start a community of free thinkers here. So side with side,